Boogeyman band coming round the bend. Is Boogeyman band? Is Boogeyman band?
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends, and thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. This is part 3 in my final video in my Cujo 40th anniversary tribute series. I want to thank everyone for the support of this series. It's been a lot of fun. So Cujo has always been, in my opinion, one of the scariest and most disturbing Stephen King films of all time. It was a film that I saw at a very early age. It came out in 1983, but I wouldn't see it until probably, I'm going to say around 1985, because I remember seeing it at my dad's condo. And I remember watching it. I can't remember if we rented it. I believe it was on HBO. I've always been an animal lover. My grandparents had a dog named Clyde. He was a Jack Russell. But that was the dog I remember growing up with. My dad's third marriage, they had a dog named Brandy. So in growing up around dogs, what happens to Cujo in this is not only is he the antagonist, but you also empathize with what's going on to him because it's not through any fault of his own. And I think one thing about this film, revisiting it, I've watched it about 4 times in the last couple of weeks because I just really wanted to re-immerse myself into it because I haven't watched it in a number of years. It's just how Louis Teague and everybody involved was able to illustrate what Cujo was going through without, overly showing it. Just how sounds and interactions with people. And I love how you see the spirit of Cujo slowly disappear as he becomes more enraged and the rabies take over, and you hear like subtle growls, and then when he's full on rabid, he's terrifying. The way that they were able to execute these attack scenes with real dogs, with a stuntman in a full St. Bernard costume, that they used like props for some of the scenes where Cujo is ramming the car door with his head. The way that they did it, the way that it was cut together masterfully, I think this film still is terrifying to watch. I think every performance in it is absolutely amazing. Finding a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of the production and what each of the actors was kind of like in their own, in their own way. This just made me a bigger fan of Donna Wallace. I had the opportunity to meet her in 2017 at the East Bay Comic Con. She was a lovely woman. I remember telling her that she was my horror movie mom, and she loved that, and she said she's heard that a lot. But really, very much so, and I will say, just on a personal note, she does really remind me of my mom. There's very similar things about her. My mom was a single parent. My parents broke up when I was 2, and my dad did have an affair that caused the breakup. So there was things about this film, even though in this movie and in the book it's Donna that's having the affair, there was just things about the movie that really got to me because it was things that I was going through. I love Dee Wallace, but she's a very complex character in this movie, and at first I didn't really like her in this movie, and I guess because as a kid, I just knew that my dad had hurt my mom by cheating, and I didn't like the fact that Donna was doing that. But then you watch this film as an adult through adult eyes, and you just see this very sad, lonely woman who just feels neglected by her husband, and that he's so focused on work. And there's this tremendous arc to her performance in this, and it's such an amazing performance, and I don't think enough people talk about this. Dee Wallace has gone on record, even in the book that I just read, the Nope, Nothing Wrong Here. She says it's her favorite movie that she's done, and she put so much into this. Her and Danny Pintaro are the heart of this film for me, and I love their relationship together. Those scenes in that Pinto trapped on the Camber farm as Cujo is attacking them are horrific. That is visceral. That is, you are there with them. There is no special effects. This is 100% real emotion that they are going through. And I feel like I'm in that car with them every time I watch the scenes. And I know some people can say, oh, Danny Pintaro is irritating. He's a little boy. He was 6 years old when he made this movie. And he had seizures when he was a young boy. So he was able to go into that mode when they're in the car. And my God, a little boy like that was able to act like that. And the fact that him and Dee Wallace were so in sync with each other, that has always been, what has hooked me to this film. And watching it as a young kid and seeing those scenes, they truly disturbed me. Very much like movies like my favorite movie, Salem's Lot, disturbed me, or movies like American Werewolf in London freaked me out. These images and these situations, they left an imprint on me. And I had a hard time revisiting this film for many, many years. And, going back to when I read the book for the first time now, I read this book in high school. I was a senior in high school. I was in honors English, and one of my favorite books was Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And I started going back and to Stephen King books. Cujo is one of the first ones I read besides Salem's Lot. I also read Pet Sematary twice. When I checked this out of my school library, I remember it was the movie version of it. Again, going back 31 years, but I remember it was the movie version of it, and it had the pictures from the movie. And the ending of this book is much different. In this book, Tad dies, and Donna kind of goes into this rabid, sort of frantic state, trying to revive him when Vic shows up to the farm after she's killed Cujo with the bat. And I think it was so great that even Stephen King said that if he could rewrite it, he would have rewrote it that Tad lived. But in the movie, of course, Donna is able to get, after she pretty much impales Cujo with the bat, the bat splits in half when she's hitting him, and he lands on it and sort of stakes himself, and then she gets into the house and revives Tad. But then when he comes back, Cujo, of course, breaks into the kitchen through the window for one last scare, and Donna shoots him with Bannerman's revolver. I think that's a much better ending, even though I really do love this book. And pretty much the movie follows almost every beat from this book, except for some of those small changes, like I said, especially the ending. But I just remember loving the book and really, like I said, loving this movie. And a lot of my connection to this movie, again, goes back to my mom being a very protective parent. And my mom and I are still very close, and I could see my mom protecting me the way Donna protects Tad. If I had been this little kid with her trapped in this car, my mom is a fighter, and I think that's why I connect to this movie so much, because even though Donna's not a single parent, she's gone through a lot. She has baggage. She's tormented a little bit, but then she's there for her kid, and it just shows what a parent would do to protect their child. And my mom still worries about me, and I'm almost 50 years old, but I just see my mom as just, she's the hero of my life, and that's why I always have just sort of been drawn to this film. And how that Danny Pintaro and Dee Wallace didn't get nominated for Oscars for this film is beyond me. Like 7 years after this movie came out, we would have the movie Misery, which would make Kathy Bates a star, and she got nominated and won the Oscar for Best Actress. I love this film, and I can't believe it's been 40 years since it came out. And I hope everyone else appreciates this film. I'm curious to know what people think about it. I hope everyone has enjoyed this week of Cujo content. I've really had a lot of fun doing it, and I was glad that I was able to bring everyone on the journey with me. Let me know what you guys think about the film. Do you love the film? Have you read the book? Curious if people like both, if people prefer one over the other. Happy birthday to Cujo, 40 years. And I still think the film is, without a doubt, one of the best Stephen King films ever made. And I want to thank everyone again for taking the time to watch this video. And I promise you there's some really cool stuff coming up very, very soon. So take it easy. Stay scared as always. Fellow Fright Fiends, just want to say thank you again for supporting Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. If you're brand new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I typically do this once or twice a week with new content. I've been doing this for over 11 years, and the horror genre is a passion of mine, and it really means a lot to me that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again later. Take it easy, stay scared as always. Peace.